Hello, welcome to Lemon Series, where we talk movies, television, and wrestling. I'm, of course, Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for Friday Night SmackDown. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Shall you leave a like? Comment below, let me know your thoughts on Friday Night SmackDown. Of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I'll greatly appreciate it. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into it, shall we? So this was an interesting episode of SmackDown. I mean, I'll tell you what, if WWE can keep this up with their 3-hour format, now, maybe next week will be the real true first test of it because, we didn't have a big title match at the end. That went about 40 minutes. That covered up the show. And I will say there was some I don't know why I can't talk. There was some dead time within this episode of SmackDown. I was just showing wrinkles of, the SmackDown of old of 3 hours ago. But overall, everything we did here, again, I think was just really building blocks to make a much more interesting show and give it the energy that SmackDown absolutely needs. I mean, we got a bunch of new life, a bunch of new superstars on this show. Trick Williams, Jordan Grace, Matt Cardona. We're signing all these people. We have a brand new WWE champion with Drew McIntyre. Again, we're continuing to build these building blocks. That, again, I think is going to really cause a much more intrigue and some much needed intrigue into Friday nights, especially when we get to the road to WrestleMania, especially if you're going to do a 3-hour SmackDown show. But before we get into the show properly, just because there was so much chaos that was happening online, because as you know, I'm from America, so I didn't get to see this until 7 o'clock. And, back in the good old days, well, not the good old days, but, back in the old days when, we didn't have Netflix and everyone could watch SmackDown if they chose to do so, if they live internationally, or if you just get a VPN, you can get SmackDown, and there you go, what have you. So therefore, when it comes to the spoilers, if you will, I think it's really up to you at this point if you're going to decide to get online. I saw a lot of people get mad at other content creators who were covering the show live, who did get the VPN, that they were like, oh, you spoiled the whole show for me, or, they were tweeting about the show live. Again, that's on you. Again, everything on this show did get spoiled for me, so some things were a little bit tainted, I'm not going to lie. Like, I would have liked to see Drew win the title without knowing that he was going to, because I was pretty confident that Cody was going to win. And I did call the finish if Drew was going to win. Well, not fully, because I didn't think... I kind of knew Jacob was going to come back, but I thought if Jacob came back, Drew would lose. But if Jacob didn't come back, then Drew would win. That's kind of what I was thinking. But no, we did both, and somehow Drew did win it. But again, it's up to me if I decide to go online, right? And I did choose to go online because, I'm bored. And so therefore I get on my phone, and therefore spoilers happen, right? So everything on this, I was just kind of watching for execution as it went through. But yeah, if you're someone who lives in America who doesn't get to watch the show properly until 7 o'clock, look, you have two choices. Get a VPN or get off the internet. Like, I don't know what to tell you. As someone who got spoiled and who wasn't necessarily pleased that they got spoiled, I understood my risk. So therefore, there's my TED Talk on that right now. I am not upset at anyone who posted it because, again, it's much more easier to access than it has been ever before. Like that whole... Before, yes, if you spoiled, you were a dick. Now, it is what it is. It's just the times that we live in. But yeah, let's get into the show properly. Like I said, I was watching the 3 hours. It was more about seeing execution as opposed to how the show was going to make me feel throughout. So I feel like that's a different way of going about it. It'll probably be like this for the next few SmackDowns. Raw, I should be able to watch live for the most part. We got some downtime at work, so, don't tell anyone. But maybe I'll sneak my phone in and I'll be able to watch it, and I can actually experience the show how I prefer to experience it. But yeah, so seeing how some of the things happen, I was like, I wonder why Alexa Bliss and Julia are fighting. No, it turns out we just booked that match because Charlotte couldn't make the show. I hope she is okay. If she is sick, hopefully it is just the sniffles in a lot of ways, and we're just taking extra precautions. But yeah, we did Alexa Bliss versus Julia for the Women's United States title. Julia got a promo beforehand. Again, it just goes back to the whole portion of that. I just don't think Kiana and Julia really mesh very well. I think they're going to get a much more bigger opportunity to actually showcase that they can mesh well throughout these 3 hour SmackDowns. But yeah, like Kiana talked, I was like, okay, yeah, that's that's cool. And then Julia talked. I was like, oh, this is really good. And then Kiana Gate back in. And like, again, it was like this contrast that was a little weird. But I do appreciate WWE is giving our women's United States champion some actual promo time, which is more that they have ever given her all of last year. In fact, that whole entire U.S. title is more than they ever gave than whole last year. So we are putting, again, those building blocks to make this division a little bit better. Hopefully they continue as we move forward. Again, a match with Alexa Bliss. Again, she's a legend. Sure find a Hall of Famer at some point. Fun match. You know, we had the interferences all the way through. Didn't necessarily mind it all the way because, you know, Lash getting involved at the end to cause Alexa because that reverts the focus back to the tag team titles. The commentary even made sure to talk about that. So overall, it was okay. Again, we're building. Let's just keep building. So that way, again, this division can be a lot better. Not just for the mid-card title, but for the main card title as well. Because, you know, Jordynne Grace also had a match on here. She faced Alba Fire. Quick work. It was more of a showcase match more than anything. And then, you know, Jade Cargill comes out. And I say, let's not wait. Let's do this at the Rumble. Jade Cargill versus Jordynne Grace. Hell, do it at Saturday Night's Main Event. Whatever you got to do. But let's go ahead and get this match going and have this little back and forth. And, you know, these two hoss of a women just freaking butting horns and all that. I think it's going to be a really fun match. Again, that Jordynne Grace being on SmackDown really elevates the division up so much because, you know, it's fresh. It's not the same faces every once in a while. And it does feel like, again, we'll see if Bianca's cleared by then. But I do think the overall plan is to get to Bianca versus Jade. That's what WWE has been sitting on. And maybe Bianca's about to come back, which is why Jade is the champion. So yeah, this could be a good little detour until Tiffany gets back, because you would assume we have to do one more match between them. And again, we're just going to continue to build those building blocks around. But yeah, happy to see Jordynne Grace officially on SmackDown. It's probably where she is meant to be. The Men's United States Championship, Carmelo Hayes versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Fun match. It was a really good match. You know, it's like your standard open challenge match. It's always entertaining. Don't really much more to go in about it. Maybe the overall story is Carmelo Hayes versus The Miz. And I guess it has been spread apart enough and they are interacting enough where I am kind of intrigued by it. Because we did never get that proper blow-off match when they did break up. But, you know, they're making sure, hey, they're running into each other. Carmelo is going like, thank you for finally leaving me alone. Okay, you want a chance at the title? Just let me know, and we can go to war about it. And then, you know, he's going to Ilya after it, after that. Now, next week, you know, we're going to get those 4 qualifying matches. And I would assume Miz loses to Orton. And then after Miz loses to Orton, then we finally do the Carmelo Hayes versus the Miz match, either on a SmackDown, Saturday Night's Main Event. I don't think you need to do it at the Rumble. Or again, maybe you prolong it until WrestleMania, and then, you know, they have their proper one-on-one match because there is an actual story there. But yeah, Shinsuke versus Carmelo, it was fun for what it was. The 8-man tag, that was where our WWE men's tag team titles came into play. It was fine. I would say this is part of the portion where I felt like the show was a little dull. Like, it just didn't really do much for me. It was fine. It was a fine 8-man tag. But again, I feel like this is a storyline that has really ran its course. It's gone on for quite some time, and there was a lot of intrigue there at the beginning. Now, I don't feel like it's as there as much, right? So, Solo Sikoa getting the lantern in the way, that distracts Uncle Howdy. He gets attacked. He gets pinned 1, 2, 3. Now we can properly do the tag team title match. Next week, pick a winner, pick a loser. Let's have them move on. Let's get some fresh, and let's continue again to rebuild this tag team division that was the strongest at one point. Now it's easily the women's tag team division that is the strongest tag team division in all of WWE. And then what was after that? We already talked about our mains. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all of the show. Now we just really need to get into the WWE title scene. Again, we'll continue to build building blocks around. We have those 4 qualifying matches. Matt Cardona versus Trick Williams, which I'm pretty sure Trick Williams is going to win. Oh, he had a match to kick off. Had a little promo battle with Randy Orton at the beginning too, and he actually went toe-to-toe with him pretty well. Clearly, Trick either hit a fan or almost hit a fan, because when he knocks the mic out of Orton, I don't know if Full Sail has people on the hard cam side or that's just camera stuff. So Trick is allowed to hit as hard as he can. But when he hit, and look at, you can tell Trick went out of character for a little bit and went, oh shit. And Randy's trying to play it off, be cool about it, and they found their footing back then. But yeah, Trick Williams did a pretty good promo. Orton going back at him with the numbers and saying, look, 14 is the only number that matters here because I'm trying to get to 15 to become the world champion. All for it. Maybe that's the program for Trick heading into Mania. It's either that or Sammy, for sure. But, they went back to back and they did pretty good. I think the bigger match for Trick would be Randy, but I don't think that guarantees Trick a win. You know what I mean? So if he faces Sammy, I think it's more solidified that he would win, that he has arrived. No disrespect to Sami Zayn. It's just how I kind of see how WWE sees those two superstars. But yeah, again, Trick Williams versus Matt Cardona. Trick Williams should win that next week. Randy Orton versus The Miz. Again, Orton should pretty single-handedly take care of that. Ilya Dragunov versus Sami Zayn. And I got Sami Zayn going over simply because the Rumble is in Saudi Arabia, and Drew McIntyre is now the WWE champion, so Sami Zayn has yet to beat Drew McIntyre. It's going to be for the biggest stakes ever. It'd be good for the Saudi crowd because Sami is red hot over there. Yeah, I feel like why not? We should do that, and it will be fine. And I think Drew will win. And then again, we'll see where we go from here when it comes down to the WWE Championship scene. Again, the WWE Championship scene feels as fresh as it's ever been in a really long time. What was that? We got the 3, and then what was 4? Oh, Damian Priest versus Solo Sikoa. Damian Priest should win that one. Again, I feel like the Whites are going to get involved to cause Solo Sikoa the loss, if anything, or maybe afterwards Damian Priest just gets the win 1, 2, 3. But yeah, Damian is probably just there to really make up the numbers. I would love to see him in the WWE title picture, but him versus Drew again, the feud ended last year, and I still feel like it's too early to go back to it. Maybe he's there to take the pin. I don't know, because, Trick has just arrived. I have Sammy winning, and Orton, I just don't see them pinning Randy Orton whatsoever. So it's either Damian or Trick who gets pinned. And we'll see how it attacks him there, because it does feel like we are trying to reheat Damian Priest up a little bit. But yeah, really, really interesting stuff when it comes to that. The 3 stages of hell match between Cody and Drew. A lot of fun. Again, I had it where Drew was going to get Cody DQ'd. And sure enough, they even played into that. I have the watch, so Cody's going to disqualify himself. Then all I need is one more win throughout. Nope. Turns out Drew was able to get the pin on him. He exposes the turnbuckle. Ref goes to cover it up. Drew kicks him in the nuts. 1, 2, 3, ball game. False count anywhere. Okay, let's get out of the ring. And they played it really smart, too. I really like how they play this. Okay, let's just get out of the ring. We're going to stay outside of the ring for all of false count anywhere. They fight in the crowd. Cody's having a lot of fun. He's taking selfies with Drew as he's going. He's looking at the ladies, I don't know. Everything Cody was doing within the crowd work was a lot of fun to me. Going up to the top, jumping off through the table on Drew. They're going back in, and then at the announce table, crossroads 1, 2, 3. Now it's time for stage 3 inside the steel cage. And this is why I like what they did in stage 2. Because all that carnage just happening outside the ring. It's that you completely forgot the turnbuckle is exposed when we got to stage 3. So when they're building up, they're doing all the climb spots. And, I know there's a lot of debate on the escaping the cage rule is kind of dumb for a steel cage match. I can go either way about it, but I kind of like it. And I think, the escape the cage rule really benefited WWE here. But yeah, as they're fighting, and then when they get hit within the exposed turnbuckle, it was like, oh yeah, he did expose the turnbuckle. It was like this big light bulb moment. I mean, it certainly was for me anyway. And, Drew's trying to escape. Jacob Fatu's going, nope, you're not going to escape. He starts beating him up. And then he beats up Cody too, because, he doesn't really know who it is. And then, the slimy heel that Drew is, he escapes, he survives. He is now the WWE champion. Again, some much needed intrigue has been brought into SmackDown. I don't need Drew to have a long title reign. I would like to see him hold it up until Mania, if anything. I do have Drew versus Jacob at WrestleMania. I had it as just at the street fight because I really thought Cody was going to hold on to it all the way to WrestleMania. And if the rumors are true that we are going to do Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania, it doesn't need the title. That match now being without the title, and it's just babyface versus babyface, because no, I don't think they're turning Cody heel. Of course, he was going to get booed tonight. They were across overseas, and he was fighting Drew McIntyre, who is, a savior over this overseas, man. Like, it is what it is. But yeah, if we are to do that round 3, And, round 1, Roman won with help. Round 2, Cody won with help. Granted, Roman had help too. Round 3, I need to beat you. I need to beat you. Let's go mano a mano. Let's just see who is truly the best, who is truly the face of the company. And again, you can go either way because I don't think anyone wants Roman with the title anymore. And, Cody, I like him being as champion, but, some fresh blood. And again, Drew just makes a lot more things exciting. We'll see how that execution is, and we'll revisit this in a couple months from now. But yeah, if that is to be the plan, Cody needs to keep the title off of him, and then I'm okay with round 3 for sure. Drew holding on to it. If we do Drew versus Jacob at Mania, again, if we're going to do Braun versus Punk and you change the titles, both of them, to really insert a new era, you got these 2 new fresh faces that you've been building around for 2 years. Again, it's just a lot of excitement. So yeah, again, the SmackDown was fine. That WWE title match really put it over the edge to it to being good/great in a lot of ways. Next week, though, is where the real test begins, right? I think they are taking the right steps. They are really focusing on the wrestling. The wrestling has been really good. That's going to really fill up most of your time. Let's make sure these wrestling matches get a lot. Promos, maybe trim those down a little bit. I would say the opening promo with Trick and Randy did go a little long just because, again, we are trying to fill out 3 hours. Give that time to the wrestling and keep the promos at your 10-minute marks is basically what I'm trying to say. But yeah, let me know what y'all thoughts on this episode of SmackDown down in the comment section. Leave a like if you made it this far in the review. I do greatly appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button. It helps me grow into my YouTube career. And don't forget to squeeze the days, guys, because life is too short not to give you. Also squeeze every opportunity that you can. Until next time, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.